why you should always be scared of clowns. Back in 2016, a young kid named Jake went to his local fair to have some fun. He was having a good time, playing games and enjoying the rides, but that quickly changed when he saw a disturbing looking clown waving at him. Jake was creeped out, but he just ignored the clown and walked the other way. He continued to have fun, and about an hour later, he decided to walk back home. As he was walking back home, he heard his name get called out from behind him. He turned around to see who it was, and to his surprise, it was the same clown from the fair. The clown was calling his name and telling him to come here. Jake's heart was pounding. He immediately said no and started walking faster in the opposite direction. He turned around to see if the clown was gone, but to his horror, it was sprinting towards him. And you won't believe what happens next. Jake turned around and saw that the clown was sprinting towards him. He screamed out in horror and ran as fast as he possibly could. The clown was yelling terrifying things like, "I'm gonna get you and you're gonna die." Jake was running for about a mile until he finally got to his neighborhood. He turned around one last time and saw that the clown was gone. Jake ran inside of his house and called the police. He told them everything that happened. As he was waiting for the police, he noticed something outside of his front window. He looked outside, and to his horror, he saw the clown standing there and waving at him. Jake started screaming in terror, so he ran upstairs to go hide. The police arrived about a minute later, and Jake told the officers everything that just happened. The police started a town-wide search, but found nobody. And to this day, the clown is still somewhere out there. This is why you should never go to McDonald's at 3 a.m. Back in 2014, a guy just got done working a late shift. He was feeling hungry, so he decided to go to a nearby McDonald's. The McDonald's itself was very sketchy, and there was only one car in the parking lot. He was freaked out, but he thought nothing of it and just went inside. As he was ordering his food, he noticed something very disturbing outside of the window. There was a creepy looking man who was doing nothing but smiling at him. He was very freaked out, but he just ignored the man and went to go get his food. He sat down to eat, and once he was done, he went to go use the bathroom. He was doing his business when all of a sudden he heard laughing come from behind him. He quickly turned around and screamed in horror. It was the same man who was staring at him earlier. The man grabbed him by the shirt and slammed him against the wall. He then started threatening his life. He was begging the man to leave him alone, but he just let out a terrifying laugh. At that moment, the door to the bathroom slammed open. It was a worker yelling that the police were on their way. The man let out a terrifying scream and ran out the door. And when the police arrived, it was already too late. The man was gone. They tried searching for him, but he was never found, and to this day, he is still somewhere out there.
This is why parents should believe their kids. In 2010, a 15-year-old boy started to notice that the door to his attic, which was in his bedroom, was always open. One day, when his mom's giving him a hard time about being lazy, he's like, "Well, you're one to talk. You always leave my attic door open." She's like, "I haven't touched your attic door in months, and nobody else has either." Not easily frightened, the boy decides to leave the attic door open. And so he's laying in bed, and he kind of looks over at the door, and standing in the door frame is a figure staring right at him. He bolts, tells his parents, they don't believe him, and then 6 months later, they move anyway. A few years later, the boy discovers his favorite teacher actually moved into his old house. And so he jokingly asks her, "You ever see any ghosts walking around your attic?" Her face got completely serious, and she's like, "You know, as soon as we moved in, the door to the attic kept opening. So we investigated, and we found a trap door that led onto the roof. Someone had been crawling in through that entrance and living in the attic for years."
This is why you should never go to Walmart at 3 a.m. A few years ago, two teenage girls were having a sleepover. They started feeling hungry, so they went to the kitchen to get some snacks. They opened the cabinet, but there was literally nothing for them to eat. So they decided to go to Walmart. As soon as they walked in, they bumped into a man who said he worked there, but he wasn't wearing a vest, so they knew he was lying. The girls just ignored him, and they went to the aisle with all the chips. As they were walking, they noticed that the man kept following them, but they still just ignored him. The girls started to pick out their snacks, but then all of a sudden, one girl screamed in fear. It was the man looking and smiling at them from another aisle. The girls ran to self-checkout and left as soon as possible. They got to their car and drove as fast as possible until they were home. The girls got home and they were terrified. 10 minutes goes by when they hear a knock at the door.